Life is a journey with problems to solve and lessons to learn. And above all, it gives experiences to enjoy. We often say that life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the program Dr. Tapaswini's Corner. It's me, and I work as a head and neck oncosurgeon at the Fortis Hospital. Surviving cancer is not the end of a story. It's the beginning of a beautiful one. So we have such live examples of survivors today who endorse this thought. So let's welcome Mr. Satish Kaushal ji to the program. Welcome, Satish ji. It's such a pleasure to have you on for this show today.
It's an honor to be here on this platform to talk to you and to many other people who would have traveled this journey. And not a very welcome journey in the minds of few people, but it is an inevitable journey.
Yes.
So we'll have to live with it if somebody is confronted with the situation that I went through.
So you are the executive director of Ernst & Young Global Limited, which is a huge multinational professional services network. It's been 30 successful years into this profession, dealing with thousands and thousands of global and Indian customers. You are a workaholic, working 18 hours a day with a strict, disciplined curriculum. You turned 65, I'm told?
Yes, 66
yes?
To be honest.
Oh, 66.
Yes.
So I'm sure that
yes.
early morning greeting from our Honorable Prime Minister must have been a blessing.
Yes, I was pleasantly surprised on 7th September when Honorable Prime Minister's birthday greetings came to my Twitter handle. And I was pleasantly surprised to see him wishing me all the good health, wishing me success in my life, and also giving his blessings.
Was September 2016 a turning point in your life?
It was one of the the biggest turning points in my career, in my life till then. The life before that, as you said in my introduction, was one in which I had worked starting from a banking career to an information technology firms, working with companies like Microsoft, IBM, and then now with Ernst & Young. Prior to that, I traveled and worked in different countries, Middle East, Germany, UK, US, and in India with the government sector for almost 25 years continuously. So I was hopping from one city to the other city, talking to various bureaucrats, talking to people from overseas, trying to get in FDIs into the country, working day and night towards that. Suddenly I started building some sort of a throat infection and irritation. Okay. Initially, my thoughts were that because of my extensive travel, weather changes, and different types of food that I was eating in different places, perhaps it's causing the irritation. So I was doing gargling, going from one city to the other, and for a few days it subsided. I personally took antibiotics myself. It didn't go away. Then I had to show it to an ENT specialist who right at the beginning itself suggested that I should get deeper diagnostics done.
Right.
And that is how it brought me to your hospital and to you personally. And you examined it. You did a biopsy, and you asked certain questions while you were doing the biopsy.
Right.
You suspected something but didn't say anything.
Okay.
And you started asking me how has been my lifestyle, how has been my way of living. And when I told you on the bench in which you were doing my biopsy that I lead a very Spartan, simple life style, without drinks and without alcohol and tobacco, you said there's nothing doing. I don't think anything is going to happen to you. This should come negative, be rest assured. So I went home, and after a couple of days, when I was asked to come and meet you, you had that news that no, that expectation was incorrect. It turned out to be carcinoma squamous.
I'm sure it must have been a bolt from the blue. Huh?
Yes, it was definitely a setback at that time.
Were you in a state of denial when we declared that, yes, this was cancer? Did you think that the biopsy report probably could be incorrect?
Not once, but multiple times.
Oh,
Let me tell you the truth. Even today, I think that way.
yes.
Many a times,
Okay.
I think even today that perhaps my biopsy report was not correct. This thought that I had led such a simple, straightforward life, almost my whole of my life, and the cause of this is because of these habits. But almost all the results after which then I had to go through proved it otherwise. So I had to accept it.
Yeah.
Right. And so if I were to say that no, I was not in a denial mode, it will be incorrect. I was definitely thinking that it is not correct. That I would, and this biopsy report might be of somebody else. It might be something,
Something
some wrong
else.
sample.
So when cancer struck, did you think that God was unfair with you? You never smoked, you never had alcohol. So why was he so unfair? And then why me of all the people?
Well, Dr. Tapaswini, I must say that I never had that feeling, why me? And I never thought that God has been unfair to me. Because if you see around, there are so many other miseries that people go through.
True.
Right? We are thankful and should be always grateful for every moment that God has given us so much in our life. What stood by me during that period was I accepted it as a reality. I apologized to God that if I have done something wrong, I seek His blessings. And I was grateful to Him for everything that He has given me so far.
Lovely.
And I did think that my next step should be much more positive and constructive to fight it out.
Excellent. So one bad chapter doesn't mean that the story is over. So if things are good, it's wonderful. If it's bad, it's an experience. You know, it's God saying, "Waqt बुरा है पर साथ तेरा है. ये वक्त भी गुजर जाएगा. ये विश्राम मेरा है." So it's like a pause which is there in our lives. And so we move on, we accept what God's given for that period of time. And that's what I find beautifully in your thoughts.
Yes, I do think that, the life is like a sinusoidal wave. It will go up and down, go up and down. And these waves don't stop. So to remain positive throughout the journey of anything, something which will give you freshness every morning when you get up. And I did believe in it that, yes, if I look back, and that is what came in my mind at that time, that I have been a salesperson throughout my career. I had sold many products and solutions to different customers. We fought competition. We won somewhere, we lost somewhere, right? So from that perspective, this was one more battle to go into. Fine, we'll accept it.
So what did Dr. Google say? So when you were declared you have this particular cancer, did you Google in and figure it out? What needs to be done?
Let me bring the cat out of the bag right away. I never saw Google.
Really?
Throughout the journey. Yes, I did not. And I also asked my family members not to Google. For me, Google is a means and medium to have some knowledge. The best person around you at that time is a doctor.
Exactly.
Right. If you have an immense and a tremendous faith in your doctor, then I think Googling around is the worst thing that you can do to yourself in any disease, be it this. So I did not see Google at all. Even when I had ample time at that time, I did not.
Most of the patients do it. And I thought you would have done it. You know, they come to the OPD so well read and then they quiz you so much. And they actually make you feel that you haven't done your homework. You know, so I used to keep a mug in my room and it used to say, "Don't confuse your Google knowledge with my MBBS degree." And I would quietly turn that mug to them and let them see and appreciate. Listen, we have spent years and years with all our heart put into so many hours into our books, I don't think a 30-minute search on your Google has given you so much of knowledge that you can come and quiz us.
You should tell your patients,
Yeah.
half knowledge is much more dangerous than full knowledge.
Exactly.
Right?
In fact, it scares life
Google
out
is
of the patients.
Google is just a 1% knowledge.
Hey.
There are so many parameters when you see as a doctor in an individual. Google will not give you that information, is my belief, maybe right or wrong.
You're correct. Absolutely correct. So you being in a corporate sector, you are a teetotaler. I mean, how come you could resist this temptation of not smoking, not drinking alcohol? People talk about peer pressure. And we would love to know, how did you resist this temptation?
Well, I think I must be grateful to my family and my upbringing, my spiritual bent of mind that throughout, and good friends that I had, that perhaps were elements of that habit in me of not getting into these smaller vices, if I can say, or the dependencies of an individual around those issues. I do believe that a simple living without these things is far more important to the health of an individual than the temporary hits that you will get after consuming some of these things. In my own profession, I have seen many people not able to do meaningful talks and dialogues and negotiations if they are intoxicated. So they lose lot many times if in a social setup they say something which was not warranted. So best way is not to take it.
So what is the message that you want to give to the youngsters at this point of time? You have children in their school going age group resorting to all these sorts of addictions. I'm sure the message coming from you would be quite powerful.
I would say that any individual, be it a youngster or be it my colleague, stay away from these things. These are not good. Do away with these things. It would make you a much better individual from a health, mind, as well as spiritual, as well as physical.
Absolutely.
And the recent case of Sushant Singh is a livid example of what malaise is there in our society. A professional career of a youngster is ruined because of all these habits. So if you stay away from that, you will enjoy much more. Enjoy the work, enjoy the sport, enjoy life, go out, develop hobbies, be a good photographer, be a wildlife lover, chase girls, chase boys. Chase in the sense, be friendly with them.
Yes.
There's so much to do.
Yeah, there's so much to do in life. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Michael Douglas also had a similar cancer like yours, and he was also treated with chemoradiation. I happened to meet him when we had gone for an international conference, which was held in New York. And he says that cancer did not bring me to my knees, it brought me to my feet. I also have a similar statement from you, and you say, I had cancer, but the cancer never had me. So I had cancer, the cancer never had me. And that's like a statement from a fearless lion. So is this trait of yours something which you have inherited, or is it that the circumstances have made you like that?
Well, cancer is one battle you face with such situations every time, now and then, while growing up, studying, going out and doing sales or your own job professionally. You have all the people around you to let you not go through an easy way of a swimming. So from that perspective, if you drown yourself into the negativities, then you will perhaps not succeed. The other way to look at it is that this is one way, let me navigate and I will overcome it. That very thought is 90% win, so rest is the operational issue. So if you go out with an endeavor, with a thought that you will come back as a winner, you would have really won it out. The rest is leaving it to somebody else to handle the situation as it is. This is what Bhagavad Gita is also all about. So God says, you do your effort, you do your work, right, Arjuna? Don't be daunted by who is standing in front of you. Today you are in the war, and you got to fight it out, right? So that is how he fought the war, right? So this is the mantra of life also. So I do strongly believe in it, that when cancer struck me, I thought, yes, this is one scar which has come. Can I work with a team and identify people who can support me, who can help me? I never knew what type of animal is this, what type of problems I'm going to face, what type of challenges I will have. Every time I consulted you, thanks to your advice, consulted certain other doctors, I did believe that that this is not something which I can handle alone, but I have to have some people around me, and we'll fight it out together. And grateful to God that I had good people around me. And then we continued moving forward.
So Martina Navratilova, I heard, had some, a famous personality who has really influenced you. And
so, yes, I had a chance to listen to Martina in one of our corporate meetings. She spelled out a story of her own life, that while she was in 42nd year of her age and was winning Grand Slams once again in the doubles and the mixed doubles, at that time, one of those days, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. The very first thought was that, why me? She stood up and said to herself, the entire history of her engagements in the tennis ground and her wins of so many trophies was never her own win, but it was a win of the team of supporting staff, whether they were health people or physical instructors or people who were training her the art of competition or analyzing her shots. So she said that that was a team around me, and that made me do that. So therefore now this battle, she would identify some people and work along with them. And that made me think myself that if Martina thought on those lines, can I also identify few people around me who could be my support system during this journey of recovery? And I was lucky enough to have my family, my boss, my manager, my doctors at that time, who were continuously telling me certain things and counseling me. And we had a good team, and we walked through the challenges that were put in the chemotherapy as well as in the radiation part of it.
So I understand that you had immense faith on your treating doctors and your friends and your family who stood by you. And this faith is the surest guide in the darkest of our days. And if we listen to Swami Vivekananda, his comments, and I loved it, and he says that spiritual ideas also help you to cure diseases. And when you walk with God, impossible also becomes possible. So when you were undergoing treatment, did you continue to work, or you took some leaves from work, or were you as energetic as and enthusiastic to continue working during those days?
Dr. Tapaswani, the sum and substance of my journey, or the story of this journey, was the work ethics that I had before, and it continued during the treatment period.
Excellent.
My doctor told me, Dr. Tejendra Kataria, the head of the oncology radiation department in Vedanta, she told me, don't ever give up your work, continue working. Just come in the evening, get a radiation carried out, and do your work. My boss set me higher target than before, and he said you should do it. And so thanks to him that he never said no, you take some rest and do it, but he said you work on it. I did not understand the meaning at that time, but today in the backdrop, I do understand why he told me that way. That more I will remain involved in my work, better it would be that I will not have negativity in me. My daughters and my family members also supported. They never said Dad, you just take a while, take a rest. So during this time, I also was working on a major project, which was to skill almost 500,000 girls and boys in a very poor, deprived state of Jharkhand. And it is at that place that then Chief Minister had clearly articulated that he wants the youth of that state to be highly skilled. So we were working on that project. It was a social cause project. So we had to compete, we had to win, and I had to put a proposal which had deadlines. So during the period of my treatment, I continued working, called my team members to the hospital, saw what they wrote myself, and put the bid on date and time without asking for the extensions. And we won. And that was the biggest or a belief that I was always asking God, that God give me enough of energy to complete this good and onerous task in my life.
Wow, lovely, lovely to hear that. But there are some side effects that you still reel under. Do you, the radiation
Yes,
and
even
chemotherapy?
after almost 3.5 years of treatment, I still have a hoarseness in my voice. I do have certain times irritation in my throat, very minor, in the sense that a lot of mucus is there. Not irritation is the wrong word. I have some mucus, a little more than a normal person would have. And even today, I can't eat the spicy food. So golgappas are out, aloo tikkis are out with mirchi masalas. But in a way, it's a blessing in disguise if I look at it. Last 4 years, if I've not taken spices, it has improved my health tremendously. So my health index has gone up. So it's good. So that's how I look at it. And I feel quite thirsty sometimes because the saliva on my saliva doesn't come that much easily as it used to come before that. But it's okay. It's not much of a pain. I have a bottle of water and I take it.
So years have rolled by and you have emerged victorious in this fight. How would you inspire other people who are actually learning to fight this disease?
2-3 messages I will give. One, cancer today is not something which should be equated with death 100%. Right? Cancer is something which is treatable. So technology has improved, medicines have improved, the standard operating procedures have become very standard. So there is no need for us to keep around and hopping around in different hospitals. If you have a good doctor like yourself, or I was lucky to have few of them, stay put with them. Don't keep on moving from one place to the other, because procedurally, if your hospitals are good, your doctors are good, they'll follow in A and B and C the same procedure. This is my belief. Stay positive, stay close to your doctor, develop a support system around yourself, and get treated. And it will go away in most of the cases.
So nowadays you have a lot of celebrities talking about their cancers in public. You know, that stigma of cancer is almost gone. So do you think it really works on people? Does this add a positivity to the feelings of people who are suffering from cancer?
While you are on this show, asking survivors to talk about, right? I believe every survivor is a celebrity.
Oh yes, that's.
Because he has.
I fully agree with you.
Yeah, because he has come out after fighting it out.
Yes. That's why we call all our cancer survivors as heroes.
People, yes, it helps. Any motivating story would help, right? But to take a leaf out of them, how did they survive, is something which I think it depends upon individual to individual. I did not read anything. I just religiously believed in my doctor. I religiously believed in your counseling. I religiously believed in my family. I thought they were the heroes who worked along with me around that period.
I understand, like cancer patient, every cancer patient needs a strong support system. Yes. Because there's so much of emotional upheavals, you know, there's physical, mental, emotional, financial, a lot of factors which come in when you're trying to fight this disease.
Correct.
So if I look into your lifestyle, it is so disciplined. I mean, you go for walks and marathons, 15 kilometers. How do you think it works on your body? Does it act like a stress buster?
After the treatment, I think I have become much more disciplined. So before that, it was only my work and work. So during this period of my treatment, I had a feeling of that perhaps my simple lifestyle, if I had a better health from an exercise regimen perspective, would have added on to my faster recovery. That was my belief. So post that treatment, I have gone more into the exercises personally. As age is catching up, perhaps it also helps me to rejuvenate myself. So I do my exercises religiously, and I go for a walk. It hasn't affected, the treatment hasn't affected my physical agility at all. I don't think so.
So we see that in your fitness.
Yes.
So, a lot of people, because I would love to hear it from you. A lot of people, when they are declared with cancer, would just run away from the conventional, treatment modalities and would resort to homeopathy, Ayurveda, or, many, many, which I don't want to describe. So what is your say on this?
Dr. Tapaswini, I am not a votary of a non-Ayurvedic, non-homeopathic treatment because I have no idea, right? But I do believe strongly that one should avoid superstitions and also going to certain people who have that magical touch, as they say. And I was also told on those lines to go to some places in Dharamshala and certain places. I did not even think on those lines. Neither I would suggest to anyone to ever get into that area. Your question around Ayurveda as well as homeopathy, since I don't know how much of research has gone behind their way of treatment, I won't comment on it. But for sure, I did not subscribe to that. Many people told me during that period that take this medicine, take that medicine from the Ayurvedic alternative medicine therapy. I refrained because my doctor told me that she was giving me this treatment and this is how this works. And there was scientific research backing that. So I just took that in my stride and went for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. We also, counsel our patients. We take hours and hours, put them onto counseling sessions. But unfortunately, there are a lot of factors in our society because of which these patients get dissuaded by their professionals and they resort to a lot of other therapies. And, an early stage disease. It's sad to see that an early stage disease comes to us in an advanced stage. And we feel sad because these people never heard us. In fact, they would have more faith on people around them, their neighbors, their relatives. I'm really happy the way you analyze things. And that's what the message, it should go strongly across. Because our form of treatment of cancer is all scientifically proven. It goes through trials and trials all over the world. And then it is proposed to the society. I love the optimism with which you fought, and you are a real fighter. To the end, I'm reminded of Robert Browning's optimistic words, "Grow old along with me, the best is yet to be." So in the revolution of a wheel, what is downward should necessarily come upward again. So the sun is bound to rise after the night. So philosophically, if we see, living life would mean learning to accept sufferings. So pain, suffering, and sorrow are the necessary elements in our training and development. I hope you agree with it.
So I do believe that yes, this is an integral part of the entire life of any individual. Up and down things will happen, but we should take this more from a self-cleansing process. So when you go through these challenges, you are cleaning yourself. Correct. And you are letting the mental, your physical, your spiritual things coming through in a manner in which you have handled the odds against the things. So, and this cleans you up, right? So it should be taken that way. Another learning that I had during this journey was to see my two daughters standing like a solid rock, like a doting father. I never thought that they are so responsible children. I must really appreciate the kindness of God that He has given me such wonderful children.
Lovely, sir.
And,
Lovely.
and I never think that girls will not be able to come up to the level of what normally the society thinks that they are weaklings. They are in fact much more strong than boys.
Thank you, Satish. Thank you so much. You are a great inspiration for all of us. And may God give you many, many more productive years and a strength to beat all the odds. Thank you so much, everyone. See you next week with another inspiring cancer survivor. Thank you once again. Goodbye.